All right, good morning. I know some of you are just starting to pop on here, but we're going to go ahead and get started with our virtual ag tour this morning. I'm so happy to see you all again. My name is Katie Akins with the Arizona Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom program. And today we get to talk about one of Arizona's 5Cs. Of course, cotton, the thing that everybody's talking about right now and the crop that everybody loves. So before I introduce you to our special guest today, I just want to go over a couple of housekeeping rules. Just a reminder, please keep yourself on mute. If you do have a question for myself or for our guest, please type it in the chat box and we will make sure that your question gets answered as we make our way through this virtual ag tour. All right, well, without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to Cassy England with Sierra Farming. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself and her family's farm and what they do. So just a reminder as we go through, if you have any questions, pop those in the chat box. Good morning, Cassy. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. I am good. How are you doing?
Oh, I know they are all good because they get to listen to you this morning.
Oh, I know. This is exciting. I am so happy to be with the kids today and get to talk about cotton. It is definitely near and dear to my heart. It is something we've done for, my great grandfather started farming in Pinal County in the 1950s. And so we have been here. My grandfather, my mom's dad farmed here, and then I farmed with my uncle and my grandfather. So it's definitely a family operation and something we all love. So where we're located at. So I wanted to start first with giving you some info about our different farms. So like Pinal County, which is I think the largest county in Arizona, our farm is also pretty large and spread out. So our farming operation begins in Casa Grande, Arizona, right in town. And we are located right in town near right in the middle of town by all the shopping and everything. And then we spread from there. We go towards Eloy, through Eloy to Picacho. We have a large amount of our farmland in Red Rock, Arizona, which is on the way to Tucson. And then our newest location is in Pima County, in the Marana area, located just to the south of Red Rock. So we're pretty far throughout the county. I think if you started at one farm and got to the other, it would take a couple hours to get all the way through.
So Cassy, we do have a question. Why are your farms in so many different areas? Why can't you just farm one farm?
So we were in one area a long, long time ago. We were primarily in Casa Grande, but because of expansion of homes and because of all the new growth in Casa Grande, we've had to find new locations. And since farm equipment is so expensive, you don't really want to be too small. You want to make sure you keep a certain amount of farm acreage in. And so we've kind of spread. And so as ground became available, we would try to find ground that was close to our other farms, but whatever we could find that was available. So that's why we're spread out, just because of growth in the area.
So how do you get your equipment from one farm to another?
So that sometimes is tricky, but we try to keep, since each location, we have an equipment yard at multiple locations. So we try to keep about the same equipment at each place. So if we have one big tractor here, we try to keep another big tractor at the other place so they don't have to move it around as much. So they try to kind of keep it equally spread out. And then if some of the bigger stuff has to get moved, we hire a large semi truck with a big flat trailer and they come and pick them up and take them to the other farm for us. And if we can't do that, then they drive very slowly through town with their flashers on and all their safety stuff on. And it takes them quite some time, but they'll move it from farm to farm. But we try to get it there quicker usually. So
everybody should be really patient and really kind when they see those tractors moving down the road.
Yes, because they're not wanting to be on the road, but they got to get from one place to the other. So, oh, great. So next I want to tell you guys about my family. So this is my family. The first photo, the small photo up at the top, is my great grandfather dropping off his first load of cotton to the gin. And he was a grower for Delta Pine Cotton, which we also are too. So it's kind of cool. And then that's him also with his McCormick cotton harvester there. And then the next photo is my grandfather holding the Delta Pine sign back in the, I think that's the 1970s. He grew a special kind of cotton called a Kayla cotton. It's not something that's normally grown here, but he tried it out back then. So that's why they took that photo. And then below that is myself and him, and then my mom and my grandma, and then me and my cousins, and my son, Keegan, there in the cotton field. So he helps me around the farm, and he gets to live on the farm. And this is our Milo. So one of the major things with cotton farming is you need to keep a good crop rotation, which means changing your crops from one season you may want to grow cotton on that ground, and the next season you want to grow something else like Milo or even like alfalfa, so that you can keep the ground as healthy as you can, so that the next time you want to grow cotton, it does a really good job and grows very high yields, which is very important with cotton.
So what is Milo used for?
It mainly goes to the dairies for feed. So it's usually a feed crop, but it helps. It's a different type of, it's not as high of a water user as cotton. So it kind of gives the ground a break a little bit, and it just puts different nutrients in the ground that you don't normally get from cotton.
So when the Milo's harvested, are you harvesting that entire plant, or are you just harvesting the heads that go to the dairy?
I think it's chopped, and so it's mainly the heads and then some of the stalks.
I bet everybody
Next
knows
is our
what this
alfalfa.
is.
Oh, sorry, I got a little stuck here. So alfalfa, this is our other large crop. So we are cotton farmers, but we are also alfalfa farmers. And alfalfa is something, it's actually pretty important in our area. So it is grown all year long, and it is grown for multiple years. You don't have to take it out every year. It's great. It stays in the ground for, we usually average about 3 years on our crop. So you plant it, you get it out of the ground about this time, it starts, and then you leave it in for 3 full years. And it's great because while it is a water user, it's something that you water throughout the year. So you're not using too much water in the hottest part of the year, in the summer only. You're able to utilize water throughout the whole year, which is really important in the desert, and to keep our water not overused. So it really does help. And it also helps the soil. It helps us put some nitrogen back in the soil, which is very important for all crops, but primarily cotton. Nitrogen is very important for cotton, and alfalfa is called a nitrogen fixer. And so it's something that we utilize. And so we put it in, we grow it for about 3 years, and then we normally rotate it out of those crop fields, and then we put in cotton or another crop and keep that for a few years, and then we'll normally go back into alfalfa.
Now, does your alfalfa go mostly to dairies, or do you sell it to some of the horse folks?
We sell ours mainly to horse folks. So it's in the winters we green chop it, and that will go to the dairies. But then in the summers, about every 30 days, we cut it, bale it into those small bales in the photo, and then we sell it out of our hay barn, and people come and pick it up for horses or cattle, depending on the quality. If we get rain on it, then normally it'll get sold at a little bit lower price, and it'll normally go for cows. But
And
horses are picky.
We do have a question from a class, and they want to know, how many acres of alfalfa do you grow?
We grow a little over 800 acres currently.
And for those of you who don't remember what an acre is about the size of a football field. So imagine about 800 football fields. That would be 800 acres.
Oh, wow. Yes, it is definitely. And it's something in the summer. So in a situation where when we don't have as much water as we would like, there's certain times when alfalfa is a good crop, because if you don't have enough water and you have to leave it out and not water it, it will still be okay. You can come back and water it later, and it will still be growing. The roots can be up to 20 feet in the ground, the root system on alfalfa. So it's very drought resistant, which makes it a great crop for our area.
And what some people don't know is that the alfalfa is like a grass. So when you say you go in and cut it or essentially mow it, you're taking the top part of it and it grows back just like their grass at home. Is that true?
Yes, it does. It comes back pretty quick. That's why every 30 days we have such good weather here and it's so sunny and nice that it's able to be harvested every 30 days. In some parts of the United States, it's only harvested 3 times a year or so, and it takes longer for it to grow. And it's not as hot, so only certain times of the year are they able to harvest. Where here, we get to harvest all year long. Oh, great. Next is our cotton crop. So cotton, this is the final stage of the cotton. And this is in the after defoliation, which is the part where you put a certain kind of chemical on it to get the leaves to start falling off, because you need the plant to have just the white bolls to be harvested. The cotton harvester does not do good with leaves in the field. So the green leaves would plug it up. This is in preparation. So before you get the cotton planted, in most situations you go through and you prep the ground, and it takes quite a few steps depending on the field. But in a normal situation, you go in and you disc and you get the cotton stalks cut from the previous year, if that was what was in, cut the stalks, and you have to pull the roots. And then you come in and do some tillage work and come in with the land plane to get it smooth and ready and prepped to get rows up. So after this would normally be our lister, which is what makes the rows.
And do you guys use GPS when you're doing these things to help plane? So when the water's coming through for irrigation, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we do. We use GPS. We utilize John Deere. They have a GPS system that we take and use on all of our equipment, and it keeps it all very precise and gets the rows perfectly straight. So it's a very, very good program, and it helps keep everything. I am able to see on my phone where every tractor is. I can even click on my phone in the little map and I can get directions right to that tractor. So it's a very advanced system. So I really enjoy using it.
Let's take a look in the tractor.
Yes, definitely. So that's more of an open cab tractor, which is not necessarily their first choice, but that one is got all of and there's the GPS system, and that is hooked in to where I can even get on my phone and see the GPS that are running right now and see what they're doing, see what their computer screen's telling them, see if there's anything needing to be done to the equipment, when the oil needs to be changed. Every detail of the tractor pretty much is available. And so it's definitely a complicated system, but it's very similar to like a computer game, the little screens when you see them. It's a lot different than a car. Oh no, this is a closed cab. I thought it was an open cab. I apologize. But
those are better, less dusty.
They are. That's better. Nice and air conditioned for this weather. But yep, there's the controls. And that's just kind of smoothing it all out, making it flat, getting it prepped and ready. That way the water runs nice and smoothly down the field. Because when you flood irrigate, if you have any lower areas in the field, it takes longer to get the water out. So you want it to be as even as you possibly can. And so that's why there's so much preparation prior to planting the cotton, is to get it all smooth and ready so that your water can be as efficient as you need it to be.
So we have some students who want to know if you get to drive the tractors.
I do sometimes, but not as much as I'd like to. I get stuck in the office doing a lot of work, but my husband gets to drive the tractors a lot and he loves it. And so does my son in his time in the summer. He gets to drive the alfalfa equipment. So he really enjoys that.
And some of our students have heard that some of the tractors today can drive themselves. Do you guys have one of those autonomous tractors, or have you ever been in one?
No, I have not, but I would love to see one someday. I have seen a video of a orchard sprayer that was autonomous, and it was very interesting to see. It drove through the little pecan orchard and sprayed everything, and it was a remote control vehicle. It was very interesting, but we have not got to see one. I do know that the John Deere place here in the area is going to get a remote control sprayer. So it's like a drone, but it's going to have a little spray bottle on it, and it's going to be able to go out in the field and apply a chemical. And that is going to be very exciting. So that's coming for the next season. So that's going to be our first real autonomous product that we're going to get to try on the farm.
That's very neat. And the even cooler part about the drone application is you can just apply to the areas of the field that need whatever it is that you're applying, but much easier than having to take the tractor through to get to those spots. So super cool.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. It's a very cool product. It's something that we've all wanted to see for quite some time. Oh, so this, okay, so now we are on to the pre-irrigation. So with cotton planting, in most situations, at least in our situations, unless you're planting it where it's flat on the ground and those rows are not there, which is called flat planting, you pre-irrigate. So when you pre-irrigate, prior to planting the cotton, you come in and you apply water. And you let that water soak into the ground until it's fully soaked in. And then once it is dried a few weeks, then you come in and plant the cotton. That way there is a moisture in the ground for that plant to use and get sprouted. So when you plant cotton, it's kind of unique. You water previously, and then you do not water again for about 6 weeks until after the cotton is already out of the ground and up and sprouted. So it's very unique in that. Most people would think you would just plant it, then water it right away and go about, but that is not how we do it. We pre-irrigate, let it sit for about 6 weeks after it's planted, and then we water again. Seems to give us a very strong root system, and that's why we utilize that.
Cassy, the kiddos want to know where you guys get your water from.
Well, it depends on the farm. So we are unique in, since we're so spread throughout Pinal County, each farm is different. Some farms get water from the CAID district, which is in Eloy, and that district gets its water from the ground. It's groundwater. Previously, before last year, it came from the Colorado River, which is out of the Grand Canyon, and the water came all the way down through the systems. And that is the water that we utilize primarily on almost all of the farms. Now we're utilizing more groundwater. So it's pumped out of the ground and distributed throughout the irrigation district, which is an irrigation district is a group of farmers within a certain location, and they all share the same system to farm and water their farms.
Cassy, we had another class just jump on. So can you remind them where you are located, where you are now, and then just in general where your farms are?
Oh, okay. I'm out here on the farm in actually Marana, Arizona today, but we are located in Casa Grande, Eloy, Picacho, and Red Rock, Arizona, and Marana, Arizona. So we're kind of throughout the whole area. Thanks for joining with us. I'm happy to have another class on. So, oh, this is some tumbleweeds. So part of pre-irrigation and planting is getting those ditches cleaned out. So sometimes during the winter, while we're waiting for cotton season to start again, the ditches will start getting weeds, or if you're in town, sometimes you get a lot of trash from the roads and things. And so part of preparation is ditch clean out and field cleanup and just general farm cleanup. There's a lot of cleanup on the farm, a lot more than you would think. So that's a big part of it, getting the field prepped and all the ditches ready so the water can run as fast and efficient as you can get it.
And just like our friends who are watching online have to pay for their water, you guys have to pay for your water too, right?
We do. We have to pay for our water, and it's charged. They keep track of it a little different. That it's not in gallons, it's in acre feet. So
what is an acre foot?
An acre foot is 12 inches of water spread across 1 acre. It's the equivalent. If the water was standing on 1 acre, it would be 12 inches high, is my understanding. Oh, and this is our cotton when it's first up. That first picture there with my son standing in it is that is prior to the first irrigation, I believe. That's after our pre-irrigation and the cotton is up, and it is in the beginning of the life cycle. And as it goes on, this is each stage here, and the second is probably when we were getting squares. I'm not as familiar with the photo. It's a little small here on my screen, but it looks, which the squares are what are going to turn into the cotton bolls. And so we've got that. And then we're at the last stage. There is a photo there is of the bowl stage prior to them opening. And what the very final stage, what you normally see is the white bowls that are open. And that is what those green little round things are right there. And those will turn into big, beautiful white cotton bolls.
Now, Cassie, when do you guys plant your cotton?
Cotton planting starts in late March and goes through the middle of May. So we have to have it planted for insurance reasons, because when you grow cotton, you have insurance on it just in case anything bad happens. And the deadline for that is March 15th in our area. So you have to have it planted by March 15th.
And then how long does it take for the cotton to grow?
So it grows from normally about, oh, I'm sorry, it was May 15th from, so it starts March through April. So April probably till October is about the grow season, and we're harvesting now. So we stop water the end of September normally, and we start letting it get dried out, and then you apply defoliation products. And then once the defoliation process happens, it takes a few weeks for the leaves to start dying and falling off. And then once it looks nice and white and no green leaves are left, you go in with a cotton harvester.
Now, we have some friends, as they were curious with the amount of acres of alfalfa that you grew, which we learned was 800. They're curious as to how many acres of cotton you guys grow.
Well, I think this year we were about 2,000 acres of cotton. Normally we have more, but this year it was about 2,000 acres. And we had to leave some fields empty for water usage to keep the water so we don't overuse water. So we have some fields that we didn't get to plant. So that's why there was less acres than normal.
And that's what students might hear, or even our teachers, when they hear that a field has been left fallow.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, a field gets left fallow. And we consider that in our area, they consider that to be called preventative planting. And it's preventative planting so that we're able to utilize that water that maybe went to that ground. We're able to take that water plus other water and pull it together to have enough to grow crops on a smaller amount of acres than we did in the past, just because of the water shortage. Oh, here we go. Here's some cotton irrigation. The first picture I wanted to show you is what happens if it's not irrigated properly. That is not what you want to happen there. That is a ditch getting, so part of irrigation is maintaining the water level in the ditch. And so a big part of it is making sure the water doesn't get too high. So the person who's taking care of the irrigation has to make sure there's enough hoses started, which are those black pipes there. And they have to start those by hand. And there are quite a few. There's usually 4 per every other row or so. And they start those and keep those running. And if those stop, water in the ditch can overflow. And that's what happened there. And cause all kinds of damage. And that is not fun. But when it goes smooth, it looks as it does in that second picture there. And that is in full irrigation. That one looks like it's about done and time to probably almost shut it off if the water has made it all the way through the rows. So you want to make sure it gets evenly distributed down the rows, and you water. And then once you're done, you kind of move on to the next block. So you water it in blocks. This last picture there is on the ditch there. You can see the metal circle, and that is a port. That is different than the hoses. That opens and you turn it and it opens and the water comes out the actual ditch on the side there. So you don't have to worry about hoses, which is actually a lot nicer, I think.
I've tried to start those siphon tubes before, and the irrigators make it look so very easy.
Yes, and it's not an easy task. It's something that you have to really learn. It is definitely a skill set. So,
but it is something that our friends can try in their classrooms using straws, yes. Almost, right?
Yes, you definitely can. It's definitely fun to try. And if you're going to actually try with an irrigation hose, I would start with the smallest sized hose you can find. It's easier. The bigger the hose, the harder I find it is to start. So, and this is our cotton harvest. So this is the picker, getting ready to go into the field and harvest the cotton. This is probably the most exciting time during cotton harvest. It is, you kind of get to see what it was you spent all that time and effort doing all year to see how much cotton you're going to get. So that's them picking. And then that is a round cotton baler. That's something that's kind of new within the last, I think, 5-6 years or so. Previously, we had a cotton harvester that it had a basket on the back, and you could kind of see in it, and it would fill up with all the cotton, and then they would dump it into this big machine, and it would pack it down and make a big square of cotton. Now, this machine puts out a round module, like a round out of the back, and it's wrapped in a really heavy duty plastic, and it compresses the cotton down and drops it out the back, and it's so much more efficient. It takes less people to harvest and saves the guys a lot of time and effort. The last photo there is the after harvest. So that is just the stalks left. They're going to have to come in and cut and then pull the roots.
Are these machines efficient enough that you only have to go through one time and do one picking, as opposed to, you know, back in the day, you maybe had to go through another time with a machine?
Yes, it's only one time normally. The amount of fuel and cost involved, it's something we try to just do one time. It's a one, yeah. And there's the one running there a little bit. Oh. Oh, yes, there's a good view of it. And then that is the fertilizer. So that second picture there is the fertilizer that's going to be applied to the field. It's definitely more of a mid-season task, but that's the hopper and then the fertilizer spreader, and they put that on prior to, it's about mid-season, I believe it is, when they do that. And that last photo is also another Milo photo there, just another picture of the farm there. And that's my last slide there. So it was, and that's our farm logo. And this is one of my posts from my website. So we keep a website for our hay business, and we want everyone to support Arizona agriculture. It's definitely important. It's definitely a big part of our community here.
And I know we have one of the classrooms asking if we have a picture of one of the round modules. I know in this slide we didn't, but I will work behind the scenes to get one pulled up while you're still talking. So if Cassy, maybe you can explain to them the process of once that module gets put on the side of the field, sort of how does that get picked up? Where does it go? That sort of process.
So yeah, so the round module is left at the end of the field normally. So as they're going through the field, it's pretty unique. So if they say the round module gets too full and it's ready to be dropped, excuse me, they're able to continue harvesting and set that onto the back of the machine, and it kind of drops onto the back of the machine and holds it till they get to the end of the field. And then they drop it there, and then a semi truck normally comes to the field, picks that up, takes it to the cotton gin, and the cotton gin is where it is processed, and they separate the lint from the seed, and they put that through the cotton gin, and it is then cleaned and prepared for to go to the mills.
So there's a picture of what that round bale or module looks like coming out of the back of the cotton picker.
Oh, great. So there we go. Yeah, so there, that's exactly, yeah, that's our cotton, how it looks in our field. And that's in the field. So that would be a situation where they're going to carry it through and drop it at the end when they're finished. So we have any more questions?
Waiting for some to pop in. We're gonna give them just a minute.
Oh no, I'm just happy to be able to show this.
What is your favorite part about growing cotton?
I think my favorite part is, well, the beginning is a little stressful getting the cotton up, but once it's up and it is, I think it's just watching it get the bolls and just getting to that end to see, you know, because the fruits of your labor you don't really see till the end. So once it's harvested and you're able to see how much cotton you were able to yield and see what all those inputs really got you, because you know that takes there's a lot of effort throughout the year. There's a lot of steps involved, and cotton is not an easy crop to grow. It's definitely a complicated crop. And so seeing how, because every year is different and every year the weather changes, and like this year, for example, we had a lot more heat than we normally do. And so that really put a lot more stress on the cotton plant through the summer than it's normally used to. And so that was interesting to see how much of a difference that had on our yields compared to, say, last year's crops in that same areas. So I think my favorite time of the year is probably just harvest, kind of seeing the end. I love the whole cotton season, but yeah, it's getting to see the end and see what the cotton, the quality of the cotton, because when you harvest cotton, not only are you worried about yields, you're worried about quality. So cotton has different types of quality. So when you harvest, if the cotton through the season had any damage from weather, sometimes that white cotton can be discolored or not in the same quality as you would want for maybe like your cotton shirts. And so once it's harvested and it goes to the gin, they take a small portion of that and it goes to a place called a classing office. And a classing office takes that cotton and does all these tests on it to give you the strength of the cotton, to tell you how strong your cotton plant is, to tell you what color it is, to tell you all the different things involved so they can class it and decide on the quality of that cotton to decide what they're going to make out of it. And so then that helps buyers decide which cotton they want to buy, so they have a good idea of the better quality or the lower quality, depending on what they want to make that cotton into.
And that all happens after your cotton goes to and through the gin, correct?
Yes, yes, it does. So
and
it's
we
made
do have
into,
we do have some friends who want to know, which cotton gin does your cotton go to?
so our cotton goes to a gin in Coolidge, Arizona. It's called River Co-op, and it is a gin, and it's not too far away. There used to be a lot more gins, but now that the cotton acres are a little lower in our area, we've kind of condensed them down. And also because of the efficiency, gins can process a lot more cotton than they used to be able to. Machines are a lot more technical. They're more tech friendly and a lot more, you can run a lot more cotton through them in a day than you could in the years past. And so it doesn't require as many facilities as it did a long time ago. And so, yeah, we take it all to Coolidge, and that is we've been sending our cotton there for quite some time.
Now, speaking of the tractors and the technology that you use, allowing you to harvest a little bit quicker and more efficiently, do you have an idea of how long it takes to harvest 2,000 acres of cotton?
Well, I think it takes about, so for what, I think it's about 80 acres a day is what they can harvest. It depends though. So it takes some time. Normally they start in October and go all the way till Thanksgiving. In years past, though, we would harvest almost all the way to Christmas when we had a lot more acres. But I'm not exactly sure. There's a lot of things involved there. So there's no way to really say. But
so you guys can see through the videos, those pickers are not going through the field at 20 miles an hour, right? So you have to imagine being in your car. How fast do they go, Cassy?
I think it's about 7 miles an hour, I think is where it's at. I'd have to look to be sure, but I'm pretty sure right about that.
So that's not super fast in the scheme of things, but a lot faster than when it had to be hand picked or all of those other steps
Oh,
had to go in
yes.
place. We had one student say, I can run that fast. And you know what, buddy? You are probably right. You can run that fast, at least for a short amount of time, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. We do have a question that I know that you can answer about your cotton seeds. The question is, do you get your cotton seeds back after they've been separated at the gin, or how does that process work?
No, so well, our cotton seed goes to the place, so where we buy our cotton seed from, they buy the seed back with a contract, and they take that seed and they treat it and they rebag it and they do sell it to other people. But no, we don't bag our own seed. It is done from the seed company.
And is it true, because most of the cotton is a GMO cotton, that you actually can't keep your seed? Do you have to give it back and purchase new seed?
I think I don't think we could keep it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
Oh, and this is my favorite question, because you could go on all day for it. What products are made from cotton?
Oh gosh, lots of products, all kinds of things we have. Jeans, t-shirts, Q-tips, gosh, paper. I think money is made out of cotton. There's multiple things. I can't think of all the different things off.
One of my favorite things that always surprises all of our friends in the classroom is that money piece, right? Most people attribute money to being made from paper, where in fact it's 75% cotton and 25% linen. And that's because those cotton fibers are so much stronger than the fibers that you get from the pulp or paper from trees. So yes. I always love that one. And we do get the question, is cotton candy made from cotton?
Oh, no, cotton candy is made from spun hot sugar. It does look like cotton though, very similar.
And it is important to recognize that you can eat cotton, maybe not that cotton lint, or you don't want to eat the cotton seed directly like some of our animals do at the dairies, but you can use that cotton seed oil that can be extracted from those seeds to produce things like cooking oil, mayonnaise, salad dressings. Some makers of potato chips even use cottonseed oil as a replacement to other vegetable oils.
Yes, it is. It's a healthy oil.
Let's see, we have one friend who's saying, we grew a 10 by 10 plot of cotton in central Kentucky at our elementary school. If we collect the seeds, is there anything we can do with it here at school? So Laura, one of the things that we do with an elementary school here in Queen Creek is we go in and we do a cotton presentation with their third grade classes. And so we're in there for 45 minutes. They get to hand gin the cotton, and then they actually take those cotton seeds, give it to their second grade classrooms who are learning all about life cycles of plants and parts of plants. And they plant that cotton in their school garden. So then it's ready to harvest when that class is in third grade. So they got to plant their cotton and then they get to harvest it that next year when they're in third grade and gin and learn more from it. So definitely there's a lot of things you can do in the classroom if you have your hands on your very own cotton seeds. All right, well, it looks like we are coming to the end of our time with Cassy. Cassy, we so much appreciate you jumping on with us this morning and sharing a little bit about your family, your farm, and the things that you get to do every day. For those of you who maybe want to know a little bit more about cotton, if you visit us online at azfbaitc.org, you can find a link to 2 additional virtual ag tours that we have done on cotton over the years. One of them, you're in the cab of the tractor with the farmer. And then the second virtual ag tour that's already on our website is actually of the cotton gin. So you get to see the process of the modules arriving at the cotton gin as they're broke down, separated, and you get to learn a little bit more about what Cassy was talking about with the ginning, the baling, and of course the grading of the cotton. So be sure to jump on and get those see those tours as well. I'm going to put it in the chat here. I'm multitasking, not so good at it. So it's going to pop up right there. It'll be in the chat for you. And it has its own tab of virtual resources. And of course, our tour today with Cassy will be up on our website later this afternoon as well, if you want to refer back to it or share with any of your other friends. So thank you again, and we will see you guys next month. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.